Hey everyone, welcome back to Episode 2 of Jux, an all things sports podcast. We're coming back after you after our Week 1 preview, talk about how those games went, and touch on some other highlights in the world of sports. But first, the game last night, the tough, frustrating Monday Night Football game. Rest in peace, Jersey Jerry, on his parlay, but not what people were expecting to see. So, Cole, Monday Night Football, what'd you think?
Started off strong. I thought Russ got a little rattled by his old fans, the 12th man. Um, I had Brandon McManus to get 16 points to beat comp in fantasy football week one. So if he would have made that 64-yarder, I would have beat comp. So that was pretty tough, but it was much better than the Sunday night game, so I really can't complain.
All right, Nar, thoughts?
Um, I think it shows preseason's worth something. There's no reason this Broncos offense shouldn't be putting up 30, 40 on the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks are the bottom of the league. Uh, they're not skilled. Jamal Adams is their best player, and he can't even catch the football, and he's a safety. I think that showed, and unfortunately, my MVP candidate and my favorite got off to a hot start, throwing a 60-yard bomb, and he just shut down. So I think week 2, Broncos look out.
So back to the MVP candidate talk. 4th and 5, you gave up the farm to get him. Time management, the decision to kick, coaching. What'd you think about it?
Everything was horrific. You have 54 seconds. You're just watching it tick down. It's not like they only had one. They had. Did they have two or three?
They had 3 timeouts. Yeah,
Three. Yeah. What, I don't even know what they're saving for at that point.
yeah. Down by
Like,
what, one?
yeah. So what? How many do they end up using? One total.
Yeah. Well,
For
they used the next two when they were kneeing it out, but they called one.
yeah.
Yeah, they called one to stop the delay
The
game, and
set.
then they used them on the knees.
In my mind, the second that plays dead at that 54 seconds, timeout. Let's do something else.
And you go for
Out
it.
route, out route, out route. Yes. 4th and 5. You're not kicking 64 yards in Seattle against that crowd. If we're in Denver, ball flies further. Don't mind it.
Cole,
I
do you
still think you try and get 5 yards.
Cole, do you trust Russ on 4th and 5, or do you kick the field goal?
Well, kick the field goal. I think. Well, initially they did. The circumstances, I trust Russ, but he kicked the field goal right before the second one. Um, I think they called a timeout, and he didn't even come close. So I think they've got to send out Russ. I mean, it's a kind of a kick in the nuts to the kicker, but you know, 5 yards. It's Russ. That's what you got him for. Also, Hackett was very analytical. I think with like analytics, he's like, all right, if I do this is what they say. I think earlier in the game, he could have kicked a field goal on like the 2 yard line. Points are points against the Seahawks. Their defense wasn't really struggling, other than like the first two possessions against Geno Smith. Um, yeah, I think you trust Russ, especially after a missed field goal that was dead.
Do you beat comp in fantasy if it's a 59-yard field goal?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
I
every
think
I,
I would have
I
anyway.
think I think everything over 50s were six.
All
Yeah,
right.
would have been all right.
49. Do you win? Was it that close or?
I think I lost by 4.
Okay.
I think it was 111 to 115 with an
Safe field
decimal
goal.
point.
You'd have been fine.
Yeah, I'd say so. That from that range, yes.
So then this morning, you said you trust Russ. He comes out. It's all over Twitter that he thought it was the right decision to go for the kick. Is that just backing up the head coaching job? Did he feel hurt inside?
Yes, 100%. He signed a multi-million-dollar deal. He can't backlash the coach week 1.
That's fair. I just
That's true. Yeah, I'm agreeing with Nar on this. Um,
You don't say it's the right call after you lose, unless it's like a 30-yard field goal. It's a
I think
64. Only Justin Tucker does that.
every NFL starting quarterback's going to think that he could easily get 5 yards against the Seahawks right now without Jamal Adams, getting hurt earlier in the game. I definitely could have got it.
Yeah, but and then McManus came out after that though and said my mark was the left hash of the 47-yard line, and that's where they got it. So that like you don't trust McManus to hit a 64-yarder. He had the distance.
Record was
No.
just like 64 a year or two ago. I mean, that's not easy.
No, you definitely don't trust.
So
I don't trust any guy named Brandon.
You trust Russ for 6 yards over McManus at 64 yards. Because
especially after the dead ball.
If you miss it, it's game over. If you miss the 4th and 5, it's game over either way. But
I think 64-yard field goal is a little bit tougher than 6 yards for a quarterback.
Speaking of great quarterbacks, Geno Smith.
I saw he got added to the MVP odds.
Is he back?
So
are we seeing West Virginia Geno Smith again?
Apparently, he wasn't on MVP odds prior to that game, and then after the game, they put him on there like plus 8,000.
Cole, has he still got it?
It's got to be somewhat back.
Does he still have it?
I didn't think he had it. He definitely looked like he had it. At least early on, hitting everybody. I think first 2 possessions were pretty scary for my futures.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. So Monday Night Football was tough. Sunday football wasn't too much better, honestly. Close games that shouldn't have been close. Dogs winning. Ugly football for the most part. Injuries, all that jazz. Top of the injury chart that people are concerned about now. TJ Watt. I'm going to let Gnar call. Yeah, let Gnar breathe for a bit. Cole will take the lead.
Well, I saw it today, and I'm sure everyone saw it today, that it wasn't as bad. Doesn't need surgery. Expected, I think, 8 weeks.
6 weeks was what I saw.
Yeah, and late October he comes back. I think they can hold their own, especially with that jersey Gnar's got on. Minka's going to hold it down, dude.
Any comments on the injury, Gnar, or just want to give game insight, avoid the topic?
No, I'm going all in.
All right.
We're going to go through it right now.
All right, let's hear it.
6 weeks, okay?
Yep.
Well, let's just imagine that's what it ends up being. Perfect world is 6 weeks. For me, at least. Not everybody else. We have New England next week at home. That's a winnable game without TJ. We go to Cleveland. That's a winnable game without TJ. We have New York Jets at home. That's a winnable game without TJ. Then we're at Buffalo. That's a problem.
That's an understatement.
Home against Tampa Bay. That's an issue. And then at Miami. That's an issue. There's 6 weeks. So that puts us in a perfect world at 4-3. When he comes back.
With the win this week?
Yes, with the win this week. And I do think they'll hold him out against Philly because of bye weeks after that. So in a perfect world, I think Pittsburgh can be 4-4 without TJ. TJ coming back, fresh legs for the second half of the season.
Don't need much to win that division.
Well, and you got Joe Burr and Lamar.
Joe Burr.
Quite a bit.
Let's talk about Joe Burr. Rough week 1.
Well,
tough
it's a Steelers
week
defense.
1.
Not everybody's got Minka and TJ on their team. And
the
Cam
Steelers,
Hayward.
The Steelers defense.
And Alex Highsmith, 3
that you
sacks.
skipped in
What
the
was that
draft.
about?
The same Steelers. I couldn't help but watch that game thinking, I thought they were lucky to fall to me, but Gnar passed up, so why would I pick them? And then you come on here and you're like, oh, I play the matchups. And they went down and shut down Super Bowl champs. Runner-ups.
Oh,
Runner-ups.
Runner-ups.
Still.
I never would have guessed it. I was shaking in my pants watching that game. The first half was incredible. I was relaxed. I was feeling on top of the world. Third quarter happened. I tinkled just a bit in my pants. And the fourth quarter, it was just a flood in my living room, everywhere. My butt cheeks were clenched. End of the fourth quarter, Bengals are driving. Just thinking about how irritated and pissed off I was going to be for about 24 hours.
A Lions fan.
So
How we feel.
this is a true story right here. I watched Jamar Chase get the touchdown. I chuck my phone across the room, take my jersey off, and I was wearing a TJ Watt jersey, by the way, at the time. And now I'm ripping Minka because he's MVP. And then I went to go start shaving, right?
Naturally.
I was like, I'm done. I can't watch fucking Evan McPherson shove this down my throat. So I start shaving, just working on the stash, and then I hear Bailey just, whoa! I was like, do not fuck with me right now. So I ran back out there, only underwear on, mustache was half shaved, and then I watched the rest of the overtime. It was one hell of a win. Something I'll never forget. And fuck the Bengals. Eat shit.
Cole,
we still own you.
Cole, what do you say? Joe Burrow, fraudulent or not? Was it dominant Steelers defense, or did Joe Burrow get lucky one season?
No, he didn't get lucky one season. It was dominant defense. I don't really know what happened. I didn't really watch the full game. I didn't watch it maybe when it came on in Red Zone, just when he's getting throwing a pick six, feels like. But I didn't watch the full thing, just mainly on Red Zone, so I don't have a lot to say. I think he threw 4 picks, though, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Or 4 picks and a fumble.
Yeah, it's not great. I guess we got to wait and see how he plays in the next 2 weeks to really determine if it was a fraudulent season last year.
And from my memory, 3 of the picks he wasn't even under pressure, really. You know, the first one was to Minka. There was nobody there. Minka just jumped the route, made an incredible play. Then the other 2 cornerbacks read his eyes, read where he was looking, and went off the guy they were on and went to where he was throwing to. He was able to jump the route. And then TJ is just a freak, and he just jumped straight up in the air and snatched the ball out of
That was dope.
Fucking mid-flight at 50 miles per hour.
That was dope.
So fraudulent quarterbacks leads me into another injury, another tough situation. Dak Prescott. What's going on in Dallas? Cole?
That game was rough. Ryan was a little under the weather. Probably Sunday, 6:30. Almost at the end of the 4:00 games, I was like, "Hey, you want to get on PlayStation? You know, list off some bets we want to play for tonight." I don't know what we were thinking, taking the over. That was so brutal to watch. And then we took CeeDee Lamb, first touchdown scorer. Also, no touchdowns until the third quarter. There was no touchdowns until the third quarter. Then Mike Evans scored it. So that was just a brutal game to watch. Dak gets hurt. Bucks defense, when Dak wasn't hurt, still looked good. Great, even. Micah Parsons looked really good. Dak, also, I'm pretty sure coming back a little sooner, like how they initially thought, similar to TJ Watt. Just an awful game. I'm not gonna say much more about it.
That's fair. But I mean, with Dak out now, what's the next step at quarterback, Gnar? Is it ride with Cooper Rush?
I forgot the timeline for him. What was it?
I believe it's 8 weeks.
Was that the latest, Cole? 8 weeks?
Initially this morning, I think so.
Okay. Well, if we're talking week 2, they're definitely riding with Cooper Rush. I looked at free agent quarterbacks today, and there's nobody. You know, you don't have a Nick Foles sitting out there.
Colin Kaepernick's been rumored.
I also saw rumors about Cam Newton.
Yeah, Cam Newton and Colin Kaepernick both been floated out there.
I saw those 2, but in my mind, if in the craziest world, do you imagine Jerry Jones and Colin Kaepernick or Cam Newton tapping each other up and having a good time?
I can see that.
On top of that, you throw Mike McCarthy with them. It just does not make sense.
What about
No. Here's who they need. They need to go get Kirk Cousins. That's a perfect fit. Kirk
Oh,
Cousins is a
You think they make a
no.
splash?
No. I'm not saying they are going to. I'm saying culture fit.
Oh.
If you had to pluck somebody from the NFL, it'd be Kirk Cousins.
ah,
What about going out and getting like a Gardner Minshew or who's another serviceable backup on a team right now who can depart with a backup for assets?
I'm not
I
gonna
don't think
talk
they'll
about
do that.
You don't think? Do you think they'll make it? Is it just ride with Cooper Rush until Dak's healthy?
or a free agent. Yeah.
Oh, yes, or a free agent. If they want Mason Rudolph, Steelers are willing to give him for a fucking can of Coke.
Heard it here first.
I just talked to Mike T on the ride home from work today. So
All right, so ride with Cooper Rush, I suppose, and another team injured quarterback going into Week 1. Joe Flacco got the start. The Jets, still looking like the Jets. Robert Salah says he's taking notes of anyone making fun of the Jets right now. Is he right or wrong? Is it a rough Week 1, or are the Jets just going to be the Jets again?
I think taking notes means he's noticed it happen, but I don't think anyone's all of a sudden scared like, oh no, Salah's pissed off, Jets are pissed off. Better watch out for him. If you have Joe Flacco throwing the ball 60 times a game at this age, you're not going to win too many, especially with their wide receiving core, and they're not using the Barrios of the world, people like that, screen games and their running backs to do what that offense is kind of built to do right now.
Cole?
I think it's just gonna be the same old Jets. I didn't again another game. I was so into Lions football. Another game that I didn't really watch a whole lot of.
I didn't watch a second of anything else other than the Steelers.
So
I was so locked in.
I was watching Red Zone all day.
yeah, red zone. All I saw was Lamar throwing it really deep to Bateman and I think Duvernay.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's just gonna be the same old Jets. Hard to say after going against a good team like Baltimore. Obviously high on them. I'll keep saying it. And yeah, they're just gonna be the same old Jets.
Same old Jets runs into the same old Lions. Gnar's not sold on the Eagles. Wasn't
That's
before
fair.
last week. But a lot of Lions fans are happy with a good showing ish against a team who a lot of people like, but not everybody. Cole, are the Eagles a good team and the Lions played a good game? Or is it the same old Lions giving you false hope on week 1 only to continue to lose to opponents inferior to the Eagles?
I'm gonna stick with my Eagles prediction out of the East. They played really well. I didn't see any big flaws. Jalen Hurts ran it pretty well. Especially in that first quarter, the Lions didn't know what to do to contain him. I feel like Hutch got back there a lot, and then right when he would get back there, Jalen would just run right up at the middle and for about 20 yards. And it was pretty hard to watch because he was getting so close. But um, I think the Eagles have it. They showed a lot of diversity on offense. Well, most of it was just going to A.J. Brown in the air, but on the ground too. A lot of kind of weird plays that I thought was was a little strange, but Lions. I think we got to talk about the Lions. A lot of people are calling all the points that we scored garbage points. I've heard it like 2 or 3 times today.
If
And
the shoe
or
fits.
yesterday. Well, I don't know. Did everyone watch the game? Because it didn't feel like garbage time. Like it was. They were both teams were playing really hard the whole time.
Great game
I
from
don't think
Swift.
fantastic game, and right behind a great uh, offensive line that was a little banged up. So
Yeah.
I wasn't predicting them to run the ball as well as they did. I think if we get 4 quarters out of Jared Goff, because I'm pretty sure he had like 6 yards.
Yeah.
like halfway ththrough the second quarter.
3 for
So if
9,
we get
6 yards.
if we get 4 quarters out of Jared Goff, that game could have been different. I'm not going to say it definitely would have been, but he definitely looked a lot better in the second half of that game.
He might be a garbage time quarterback, though.
I just don't think any of the time of the game was a garbage time. Halftime, it was 24-14, and then I think they scored a touchdown. I know they were up 17 at one point. That is the most.
That's getting close to garbage time.
Close, but not. And we immediately scored right behind it.
All right.
It was 17 points at the end of the third quarter, and the Lions scored with 14 minutes and 16 seconds left in the fourth, and it was a 10-point game from there.
So, Gnar, are the Eagles good and the Lions are also slightly good this year, or was that two mediocre teams playing a mediocre football game?
Love to hear it.
Entertaining football game, though.
I think it was. All right, I got something to do here. After the Dak injury, I have to. Am I allowed to reshuffle? Because Eagles are definitely walking away with this division now. I think
you had to take Dak's health into account before the season started.
You also said the Commanders were going to take second. I'm pretty sure.
They did win.
Well, we'll get to that.
I think this game was 2 plays away from being a Lions win. Dan Campbell doesn't need to slap his nuts on the table in the second quarter to go for an onside kick.
What was that?
And then if he doesn't throw the pick six, all of a sudden it's a 14. What would that be? It'd be a 14-10 game in favor of the Lions at halftime.
Yeah.
I think Dan needs to realize that he's actually got a quality team around him. His defense can hold sometimes if they need him to, and you got to trust that. And he's got to trust his offense. And I think the first quarter of this season, half of this season, the Lions are going to go through some growing pains. But being a Michigander myself, I'm hoping for the best, hoping they learn.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see him doing it. As a Jaguars fan, it was a similar-ish week one. Tough loss to a team that's probably not as good as the Eagles. I don't think they're as good as the Eagles. But, you get small victories when you're watching the games like that. You're a Lions fan, you got to see DeAndre Swift do well. Old line held their own. For Jags fans, it was Trayvon Walker getting a sack. Incredible interception off the line on a screenplay. And overall, just a lot of mistakes you can fix. Trevor Lawrence missed a wide open Etienne in the end zone with a good pass. And you get frustrated at Trevor Lawrence. But very next play puts one right in Etienne's hands to go into the end zone. And he drops it. So it's just, instead of a whole bunch of mistakes at once, it was one little mistake after another little mistake. And the defense played tough. But overall, the O-line reeks. It's going to be another awful season for the Jags. And Trevor Lawrence is going to want out. No, it's not an overreaction. You can't find O-linemen in the middle of the season. He's getting pressured every play, and when he's under pressure, he doesn't make throws, which might mean he's not a good quarterback, but who knows. But bad quarterbacks to good quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes looked like...
I have a question on the Jags still.
Okay, go for it.
How did Etienne look when he was on the field?
On the ground, he looked incredible. He can still run. Problem with that, James Robinson also showed out and showed that he's still the James Robinson he was 2 years ago. It's going to be a split backfield.
All season?
Yeah. Until one of them gets hurt or until one of them stops producing. And Robinson was catching the ball and Etienne wasn't.
So, as a fantasy owner of Etienne, was James Robinson the first and second down back in Etienne, or was it every 3 downs he'd switch?
I think James Robinson is your third down back following that game. Not because I think that's the secondary position, but in the Jags offense, I think Etienne's got a little bit more big play ability. So you put him in on the first couple downs, take that risk on a drop. Third down, though, you're going surefire to Robinson every time. My hesitation, goal line, like I said, Etienne dropped. James Robinson had 2 tubs, passing, receiving, and rushing. That's who I think they're going to go to in times when they need to make a play happen. Etienne's your big play guy.
Yeah.
That's coming from a guy who tried to trade for Etienne in that same fantasy league not a few weeks prior.
Yeah. Wasn't a good offer.
Yeah, not that Hunter Renfrow did great, but
Yeah,
anyways,
Hunter Renfrow.
on to good
Okay.
quarterbacks. Mahomes looked great. Chiefs were a well-oiled machine. Thoughts, Train?
Yeah. Talk about garbage time. Huh?
The whole game was garbage time.
How many points did the Cardinals score?
What, 7?
That's what I'm thinking.
I'll pull it up.
I mean, you still got to score garbage time points for it to be garbage time, you know?
Is the COD beta out or something?
It was a
Um,
double XP weekend for general.
Oh,
It
no.
It was.
Oh.
I looked it up.
That's tough. That's tough looks.
Juju did well in his first game there with Mahomes.
Well,
Yeah,
he had 2 fumbles.
well, fair. Caught a lot of balls. I think he had 7 catches. I have Kelsey for the first time in one of my fantasy football leagues, and boy, is it nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. 27. I think he had 27 points, and it's a tight end. He's obviously going to look to him in the end zone. This year, he's reliable. Pretty sure there's a backup running back. I don't think I would be able to pronounce his name. If
Derek McKinnon.
No, for the
Isaiah
Chiefs.
Pacheco.
Yeah.
Oh.
Looked pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
12 carries for 62 in a tub.
Yeah, not too bad. Pretty good rookie debut.
So now I'd like to hear from Gnar about a game that is really encouraging for his predictions last week. How about them Vikings? Skull Vikes. Got to be a great game for you.
I mean, that was after coming down from an incredible high. That was the Pittsburgh Steelers game. Watching all the missed field goals I could have prayed for. Boswell hitting a doink, then nailing the next one. Nuts a steal. And then the first thing I turn on after calming down, had a nice glass of whiskey to calm the nerves, I just see Aaron Rodgers throwing a bomb on the money just to watch him fall through the guy's hands.
Yeah. Christian Watkins.
I mean,
Watson.
it was an entertaining game. Justin Jefferson is that dude. Kirk Cousins loves him, and is going to throw the ball to him 10, 15 times every game. And he's going to take one of them for 15 a tub.
Jay Jett has looked ridiculous that game.
And I think he's nuts. Dalvin Cook is nuts, and that defense looked really good other than the first play.
Yeah, the answer to the Cooper Kupp Jay Jettas debate was just yes.
It was answered.
It's wide.
No, it was answered.
It was wide receiver. Well, Cooper Kupp had 30 points too.
Yeah, he gets more targets.
He's got sure hands. Jay Jett is definitely.
If you tell me
you
had to build an offense right now, you would rather have Cooper Kupp than Jay Jettas?
Well, no,
no shot.
It's Jettas because of age for a main factor. But even if they're same age, I'll still take Jettas 10 times out of 10.
You're right, exactly.
He's got everything you could want. Plus,
he caught everything out of bounds. It like on the sideline.
Right.
Touch. I just every time I saw something, he was catching something incredible at. So
the ball's coming in. You're like, how's it gonna? Oh, that's a catch. He's like, obviously, doesn't even. After a couple, I stopped being surprised.
Yeah, when he caught that one on the edge of the end zone, my jaw just dropped. Then he had 1 foot hardly out. I was like, damn, could have been more points.
At the 6th pick, Gnar, you got Jay Jettis at the 6th pick in the fantasy draft.
I was picking 9. I didn't have a chance.
Who was Steed? What would Steed? Steed took
Najee
Najee
Harris.
at 4, I think.
3 or 4, yeah. No, I think it was. No, it was 5.
I think it was okay.
Cooper Cup was 4, I think.
What an incredible steal! I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more.
For this game, I thought I was a little shocked, but I definitely thought the Vikings would win, or at least cover, and that they did.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, little loss maybe without Devontae.
This same exact thing happened week 1 last year, though.
Fair, yeah. That not the best week 1 team to do it. So I can't really judge them yet, but what are they going to do? Just give it to A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones the whole year?
Well, I think it comes down to okay.
I think Alan Lazard coming back will be a big piece. It's somebody he knows he can trust, and I'm saying that selfishly because he's on my fantasy team, just waiting to get on the chomp. I want it. So hopefully Alan Lazard answers everything and is Devontae 2.0.
I just think it's encouraging for the Vikings, good team to beat, good week 1, encouraging week 1. And then I just think for the Packers, it's not a takeaway at all, strictly because of what happened last year, week 1, and everyone's like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is toast. He can't do anything. And then by week 10, it was MVP conversation for him again. Who knows?
Ambulance?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I can't hear it. But anyways.
Yeah, it's a story of two tales for those two teams.
Yeah.
The Packers are throwing it in the dumpster, and the Vikings are like, this is our fucking year. Let's go do something. Let's go make some noise.
Yeah. Overall, I think week 1 in the NFL was a good week. In terms of competition, it's pretty competitive. Teams you didn't
How
think
about the
had a
witching
chance.
hour?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everything seemed to be coming down to the wire this week.
I can't imagine a better witching hour.
AFC South.
Yeah, AFC South.
Yeah.
It's AFC South. It's still for the taking, though.
Yeah,
we were this close to getting what would have been 3 ties, I think. Or Steelers, Bengals, Colts, Houston. Who was the other one?
Was it the Falcons and the Saints?
Yes. Yep. Falcons.
I can't stand ties in the NFL. Just do college overtime after 1 overtime.
Should we do?
One overtime, college overtime.
Yeah. You cannot end it on tie.
Regular NFL overtime, and then if that's done, boom, college overtime.
That'd be fun.
It would be fun.
Have a kickoff. Start at a 30-yarder and keep going back 5 yards.
Yeah.
That'd be entertaining as shit.
That would be. Makes kickers more valuable, too.
Yeah.
In the entire league. Yeah.
Superstar knockout in Madden. Just put it on the 50. See who gets set on their side of the field.
Yeah, tug-of-war style.
Yeah.
But yeah,
college. Or a 1v1 boxing match, quarterback versus quarterback.
Well, that might end in some problems in terms of injured quarterbacks. But college playoffs, college overtime, college football playoffs, expansion to the college football playoff announced a little while ago now. This seems like the worst season they could have announced that, in terms of there's a very clear top 3, maybe top 4 teams in the NCAA right now, and then it's just not even close to slightly more, not even close. Would you agree?
Well, I don't think they're starting it this year, are they?
No, they're not. But it's just announced this year, so you're seeing people draw mock-ups and stuff. I think it's supposed to start in 2026, but they can try to push it sooner. But ultimately, you're just the competition between a 5 and a 15 seed isn't what it is in a 2-15 in March Madness would be a better game than 4 and 12 in college football.
You think?
Yeah,
Really?
I think that shows even more this year than it has before.
I think it's the same old story. Like people were probably saying that about college basketball however many years ago. Once we actually get into those playoffs and they have a chance, it's going to be that team's Super Bowl. The other team's like, it's expected win. There's going to be one team up and ready to rock and roll, punch you in the mouth, and there's going to be another team that's just like, all right, let's play next week again. I think there will be upsets every year, but I think when you get down to it, it's going to be the same three teams fighting for the actual championship.
Yeah. What about?
I think
Go ahead, Sean.
the funness of home games for the playoffs will be really cool. And how many teams did they say? Maybe 12?
12.
Oh, 12. So, like, I don't know. Did people get, like, buys? I don't know. I don't really know how that works or how it's going to work.
The original 4 get 1 through 4 get buys.
Okay, so I think the 1 through 8 seed, which would be, like, the 5 through 12, would play each other, and then it kind of goes from there. So the 8 and 9 would play each other. That would be fun. You'd have at least an awesome first round of playoffs, and then it might be kind of, hey, the 10 seed won, and now they're playing against the whatever it ends up being. It definitely just be more fun than 4 teams when you know exactly what's going to happen between the 4 teams. Gives everyone a chance. This year, when you said, is there like 2 or 3, maybe 4, just, I guess, powerhouses? I mean, it always is kind of like looking.
It's really
like that
Bama and Georgia right now, pretty much. People are throwing Michigan in there, and as a Michigan fan, I'm all for it. But we've played Hawaii and Colorado State. Well, yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, that's what's tough.
There's a chance. Imagine college football playoffs, like with 12 teams, they could still lose. I mean, it's Alabama, and they'd probably be home, so it'd be a little different, but there's still a chance.
Yeah. For anybody that says they don't like it, 1 is an American, because who doesn't like more football, and 2, think about how much better New Year's Day is going to be. We're going to be watching 4 or 5 bowl games that are actually meaningful, where you get the star players and they're not sitting on their ass at home watching from the couch.
Way less people opting out, I think.
It's going to be great for the sport. It's going to be good for college football, and great for me because I get to watch more football on New Year's Day.
Yeah, I think it would be good for pro football too. Like you just said, it's less guys who are opting out of those big games. So you're not just seeing the Bama and Georgia guys with that recency bias at the end of the season, but you're also seeing an 11 seed, a 12 seed team who are still recognizable teams typically, but you're getting to watch these guys play in bigger games against more solid competition. Those teams like UCF that go undefeated but still can't crack the top 4 because they don't play anyone like that. Well, now you can see UCF guys play schools like Bama in the playoffs without big names opting out. So I think that'd be huge, yeah. Back into college football. As a State fan, Gnar, MSU's dogs this weekend. Shocking news to a lot of people.
It's a whale play for me, dog.
Take the points?
Right now. No, that's straight up money line.
Money line?
Michigan State's my favorite team to bet on because, yes, they're my college, go green. But I'm not, like, that invested. Like, if the Steelers lose a game, I get pretty pissed off. If Michigan State loses, I just like, all right, well, what's going on tonight?
You just go check the score of the Ferris game.
Right.
That always makes you feel better.
Yep. I think the reason is, 1, we're away. We're going to a different time zone. 2, Peyton Thorne hasn't looked all that good. But, he's showed up in big-time moments for big-time games. He's looked good against Big Ten teams. And the last thing I'm scared of is Penix is actually the quarterback, which is the old Indiana quarterback.
Yep.
And let's just say he's had his way with Michigan State and usually puts up some good numbers. So I think it's a combination of all that, but I always ride with the Spartans, and I think they're going to get the job done in a high-scoring affair out in Washington.
And off a quarterback's train, JJ got his first Michigan named start and then was announced the foreseeable starter in the future and is now listed at plus 3,000 for Heisman winner odds. Are you all aboard the JJ hype train? Is he the answer? Is Michigan football going back to the playoffs?
Hope so. I didn't get to watch it, unfortunately. You and me both were gambling and losing a lot of money, but
That's accurate.
um, yeah, I mean the stats don't lie, right? I looked at those afterwards, and it looked pretty good. It was against Hawaii, so kind of take it with a grain of salt, but it's kind of tough. He definitely deserves the starting spot, but I was just talking to Hammy before we got on here. Hammy's like, this he definitely deserves it. He's the better player, but it wasn't done the right way. He doesn't think, and it
He's
kind
a
of
state
makes
fan,
sense.
though.
No, it makes sense though. I did think about it, and it could have went a little different. I think we knew last year that he was the better player.
College football playoffs, top four. Who's going? Who's winning?
Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State. Then I'm between two right now. Let's go all four red teams. USC.
Wow. Train?
And I think Georgia goes back to back, and I think they walk away with it.
I was watching the Bama game. I saw they might lose, so I just immediately sprinted over to Georgia National Championship and put a unit on that. Just why not? They ended up winning, so them two. I think it would be really fun to have Michigan back with Ohio State. I think that'd just be an awesome. Obviously, it might. I don't think it's even possible, like those two getting in there, but could happen. I don't really. I'm not big into college football, so I don't have. I just kind of want to see what I want to see.
Yeah, as much as I don't want to see Ohio State there, I think it would be awesome for two Big Ten teams to make it once. If that was going to be the case, I'd rather it be State. I don't know what the college football playoff hopes look like though, but I could see it's going to be Georgia and Alabama. I do think Michigan will get in. I think JJ's that dude. And then
so you're done with Cade?
We're both done with
Cade's a good guy, but Harbaugh's an NFL
He led you there last year.
Harbaugh's an NFL guy, and we wanted him to bring NFL football to Michigan. NFL coaches play the better quarterback.
I know you haven't watched Friday Night Lights, Gnar, and I know you have, Bark. And I was just talking to Parker, but it's like you put in Saris and he takes you to a state championship. I think they won.
Yep.
And then it goes in J.D. McCoy because he's better.
Yeah. It's exactly like that.
Right? Great analogy.
Yeah.
Right? Go.
Yeah, so we'll see how the season shakes out, but we're running low on time, so quickly. We'll jump in.
I have one last question.
Go for it.
Analogy on that.
Yeah.
With that idea, let's say, all right, Mitt goes out and wins the Super Bowl this year, but Kenny Pickett plays better next year. You start Kenny over Mitch after a Super Bowl?
Yeah, for sure.
A little different in the NFL.
If Kenny Pickett's outplaying him, yes.
After Mitch takes you to a Super Bowl.
Well, what if the defense takes you to the Super Bowl?
If your coach,
they took us to the playoffs.
If your coach says Kenny Pickett,
no, Big Ben did.
If your coach comes out and says we're going to start Kenny Pickett and he's willing to bench a guy who won him a Super Bowl, that's who you trust to make the decisions. And you've got a hell of a coach in Pittsburgh. So if he's making that decision, you're not at the training camps, you're not in the locker rooms, you're not watching the drills, you don't know what to look for. These guys are studying these. You think it's easy to make that move? No. So tough decision. If you make the tough decision, it's normally the right one.
That's fair. I think my one last thing on that is I got to see JJ in a big moment make a big play. He hasn't done that yet.
You'll see it. You'll be watching. That's all we got
And
for
if anyone
today.
remembers it, no, if anyone remembers that state game, JJ made a couple big plays for the wrong
He's
team.
coming back, though. He's coming back. He's got that mentality. That's all we got for today. That's Jux episode 2. We'll see you next week, Wednesday morning.